It's November 1st, 2011, and I had the opportunity yesterday to watch Herman Cain in his appearance before the National Press Club, and I have a few comments about that tonight. Um, I, I'm not sure that I want to call it right now, but let's just say spoiler alert for a moment. Um, Herman Cain's very comfortable in front of an audience, and he showed that in front of the National Press Club when he was giving his speech until they got to the part where they wanted his description more detailed in the 999 plan, the Sim City tax plan. Um, and I don't think he was as comfortable explaining that. So he had his chief economic advisor with him, or someone that advises his campaign on that sort of thing, to help him along with it. And I could probably understand that because I think there's probably someone in the United States that understands the tax code. There might be a few people, but not very many. And I understand it's huge. Well, you know, when a 1040 filing runs, 25, 40 pages, including all of the, addendums and this and that, it's really ridiculous. Makes you wonder whether it's that way purposefully. Well, sure it is. Those that have the ability to gain access to a congressman's office or a senator's office in Washington, and especially with the ability to offer them whatever money for their campaigning is, that they want to. Money talks on Capitol Hill too. That's my opinion. So as you listen and watch a lot about special interests, and you hear the Democrats constantly talking about the oil subsidies, and then you've got ethanol subsidies and farm subsidies, and everyone's got their, and a lot of these are in the form of tax credits. You're going to have a convoluted tax system. So 999, first of all, I think everybody realizes it's regressive. Second of all, my biggest question about it was the 909 portion of it. As I understand the way that he explained it, this may be wrong, but there's a certain income level at which I think he said you would pay, if a family was at that level, below that level, you would pay no tax. So then let's say it's a guy making $8 an hour. Well, his boss gives him a raise to $8.15 an hour, and suddenly he breaks that ceiling. Then all of a sudden he's paying the full 9%. You see what I mean? That's too simplistic. If that's not the way it's, his plan is, I apologize, but I think that's the way he explained it. Second of all, were the troubling stories about sexual harassment. And I watched the portion during the National Press Club interview when he was getting the questions about it, and adamantly said that he never sexually harassed anyone. I never had sexual relations with that woman. Where did I hear that before? Oh, well, so then as the day went on, more details came out. I've heard that before too. So we'll see what happens there. But I think there's more to that story. And of course, it could be political machinations, because if you're dealt a Trump card, the smart person that's dealt a Trump card is going to hold that card until it's going to be the most effective to use it. We've seen that many times in the past, especially with this sort of thing. You don't hear anything about it until that card's going to be the most effective, or that coin will buy the most benefit, and then that card gets played or that coin gets spent. So then I thought back again to, he jokes a lot. And as I said, he's very comfortable in front of an audience and seems sincere. And a lot of people, he was getting a lot of applause at the National Press Club for a lot of things he was saying. But I thought back to a previous presidential campaign, and I remembered a guy named Ross Perot. Ross Perot had millions of people on the bandwagon with him. He fooled millions of people. Turns out he was a spoiler during that election. He had no intention of ever being president of the United States at all. Or maybe he did in a way that, well, I'm going to jump in here, but if by accident I get elected, I guess I'll take the job. I mean, look who he picked as his vice presidential candidate, this Admiral somebody, I can't remember his name. The guy was sorry, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but looked close to senility every time, he appeared. So do we have a spoiler here? I don't know. But that's what I thought when I saw Herman Cain. So I'll reserve judgment for now, but I'm keeping a close eye. And I'll add to that tonight I had the opportunity to watch the National Review panel discussion with the senior leadership for all of the presidential campaigns, including I think it's Dan Block, something Block is Herman Cain's chief of staff, Herman Cain's campaign chief of staff, and Amy, I forget her last name, ABC political correspondent, threw the question about the sexual harassment charges at Mr. Block right at the beginning of that interview, and he bristled at it quite a bit, to the point that she tried to press him on it a little bit, and he got very abrupt with her and was a little bit condescending. I think if I'd have been in Amy's chair, I would have disregarded his condescension and pressed him on a little bit more. But he was like, why don't we talk about campaign issues rather than that? Okay, fair enough. That would be a good answer. Well, then a few minutes later, into the rounds, he was asked questions about the suggested misuse of a nonprofits fund at back before Herman Cain declared his presidency, and that there's maybe 40 some odd $1,000 owed to that nonprofit because you can't do this if you're going to be once you're a candidate or something like that. And once again, he got a little irritated with her and said the same thing in a condescending tone. Amy, let's talk about the issues and things. And once again, fair enough. I think they were there to talk about the issues. But if there are, I think there's a point. If there are some allegations there, he would have the opportunity to address it. So once again, who knows? Briefly on top and then quickly forgotten, or what? So we'll have to keep an eye on Herman Cain, and that's just my point of view.